Paranormal in Pennsylvania may discuss topics such as suicide, murder, and other potentially upsetting things. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, and welcome to Paranormal in Pennsylvania,
where we discuss history and hauntings.
Today's story takes us over to York, Pennsylvania. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Erica.
Let's get into it. So today we are talking about Hex Hollow in York, Pennsylvania, and this has been widely requested by many listeners.
I feel like I never hear about the ones that are like super listener popular.
Yeah, I think it's just, we get locals to that area and they're like, oh, this is a cool story. You guys should talk about it.
Yeah.
So Hex Hollow is like the local legend's name. It's also called Rehmeyers or Rhymers. I'm not really sure. It's Rehmeyer. So whatever. Hollow. And it's named that because of true crime that happened back here in the 20s.
Ooh.
I know. It's always interesting. I feel like with paranormal activity, people assume that there has to be true crime behind it, but that's not always the case.
Right.
So it's whenever we do get into like crimey stuff, it's interesting.
Yes, especially because then that covers more, like I feel like a lot of history is usually tied up in those stories.
Yeah.
So they're very interesting to hear.
Yeah, and it's like you're saying, it's a snapshot in time of like what crimes were happening then, I guess.
Yeah. Yes. Remember when I didn't know what carriage robbing? Highway robbery?
Yes.
We figured out that phrase together.
Also an educational podcast. So this goes back to November 1928. And on the night of November 1928, right around Thanksgiving, Nelson Rehmeyer, or Rehmeyer, however you pronounce his last name, was murdered in his home, allegedly, while his wife and 2 children were there.
That's horrifying. And also on Thanksgiving?
Well, around Thanksgiving.
Around Thanksgiving.
I mean, still.
Yeah.
But there are so many layers to this story. So he was said to be a sort of supernatural doctor. And the reason that I don't specify what type is because I found so much conflicting information on the title of the type of doctor he was. But the thing in common is that it was like a blend of Christianity and magic.
Okay.
Basically.
That sounds really interesting, actually.
Yeah, it really does. And some people in town thought that he wasn't just this like supernatural doctor, that he was a witch.
Yeah, as soon as, when we were talking about it earlier, Hex Hollow, I was like, I think there's going to be witches involved.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And specifically one man, John Blymer, who's a 60-year-old man, thought Nelson had cursed him because he struggled with chronic pain.
So he struggled with chronic pain before going to see the doctor?
It's my understanding that he simply had chronic pain and attributed it to Nelson.
Oh, so he never even went to visit Nelson?
No, in fact, one of the theories is that he was also one of these like supernatural doctors and they were rivals.
Oh.
Which could make more sense that someone would curse you if you were a rival.
Well, yes, because what would be the actual point other than this rivalry to just accuse a random doctor of cursing you if you have no ulterior motive?
Yeah, I don't know. There would be none.
No.
Yeah. So, John thought that he needed to remove the curse, and to do that, he needed to burn the spell book, which was titled The Long Lost Friend. And he also needed to get a clipping of Nelson's hair, because allegedly he went to see another, like a seer or another witch or something, and they said, this is how you undo the curse that's on you.
So the spell book, please remind me, that's Nelson's?
Yep.
So Nelson's spell book and a lock of his hair.
Yep. However, he decided to take it a step further. So he decided to get 2 of his friends, who were teenagers, yeah, there are layers to this story, to break in, assault, and then kill Nelson.
You know what? And that sucks, just to put that plainly, because teenagers are so malleable.
Mm-hmm.
They're so easy to manipulate in that way because their brains are so young and you're at an age where you're trying to fit in and you're, I don't know how well they wanted to fit in with this particular man. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but like if you convince a teenager that something good is going to come out of something, of course they're going to do it.
Right, absolutely. And how terrible, because so they commit the murder, right? Great. Now these two young people are murderers. And they decided to cover up the murder. They would just burn his body and burn the house down.
But his wife and kids were in there too, correct?
I guess they fled.
Oh, okay.
Like these three men come in, wife and kids flee.
Okay.
And then I guess my understanding was they were assaulting him to try to get to where the spell book was. And he was saying, like, I didn't put a curse on you. And then they just decided to kill him. Yeah. Very violent.
Yes.
And then decide to burn the body because they think if they burn the body, there'll be no evidence linking them to the crime.
Right.
Allegedly, when they set his body on fire, or tried to, it wouldn't burn. And that solidified in John's head that he was certainly a witch. So
I wonder what the heck happened.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to think of like a rational explanation for that.
Yeah.
I don't know how easy it is to set a human body on fire, though.
That's
We're
actually
a
a fair point.
Water. So who knows?
I know.
Like
yeah,
not
there could
to
be
be
a lot of reasons.
Not to just like be too scientific about this on a paranormal podcast, but like if you hold a lighter under your hand, it's gonna burn you, but it's not gonna start your body on fire. You need a bigger fire source. So I don't know what they tried.
Yeah, that's fair. They were teenagers, so we also don't know the methods
Right.
because they were kids, basically. So
Right.
And then in the beginning, you saying that his wife and kids had not been murdered, I was like, well, that's good, but I'm confused as to how that happened. Now we know, because it was kids. They were like, so of course they're not going to go in with a plan or anything. You know what I mean? So I'm very glad they were able to get away. I just think like all of the crime that we've talked about so far has been wildly disorganized.
Yes. It's a
And-
wild story.
Yes, and it's because teenagers are behind it.
Exactly. And this interestingly tempered guy, John,
Yes.
who is 60. So this did not go over well, and all three men were convicted. Who's surprised there?
Right.
So that's the history section. That's not even the paranormal section, and we've already had witches.
Yeah.
Getting into the paranormal. Unsurprisingly, the house is said to be haunted. And that makes a lot of sense, given that it was like a gruesome murder and wrongful and things like that.
Right.
Many people say that it's haunted, of course, by Nelson, who holds rage in the house due to the circumstances, especially because he allegedly didn't put a curse on John. So,
Well, right. I mean, that's a whole mixed bag of things, right? Because that is like, if they were rivals, then Nelson does have a motive to put a curse on John. But if they weren't, then there's no point.
right.
Like, why would he even have gone out of his way to put a curse on someone who didn't go see him? But on the flip side, it's like, if they're not rivals, then why did he even think that it's a very convoluted... I'm, like, having trouble, I think, wrapping my mind around all of the elements of this.
Okay, and further, the curse is chronic pain.
Right, and he's 60.
Yes. No, well, John's 60, not Nelson.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Oh,
John
oh,
has
yeah,
chronic
yeah.
pain, and he's 60. I mean, that
In
makes...
the 20s.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So, that could just be life
Yeah.
happening. So, Nelson is haunting the house, but that's not the only ghost that's said to be there. Apparently, there's also the ghost of a dog in the house that watches from the nearby tree lines and has red eyes.
Interesting.
And it's been debated if this is a ghost dog or if it's a hellhound.
Oh, okay.
People think that it might be like a spirit manifesting, watching from the sidelines, kind of like as the murder happens, which is an interesting take. I think the red eyes aspect really differentiates it for me.
Yes, definitely, because I feel like I can't even say, well, maybe they had a dog. Like, maybe the family had a dog that's now trying to be a watchdog. Red eyes. It's almost as if the anger that Nelson felt is, like, carried over to whatever spirit this dog is.
That's not a bad idea, actually. That could be true. It could be the spirit manifesting multiple ways. Like, maybe now Nelson is the watchdog for the house.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, that's possible. Especially if his family fled. I mean, I don't know if we're going to talk about where they are, but if he's like, hey, maybe they're going to come back, maybe he's keeping an eye out.
No, I'm going to be honest, he didn't say much about the family. Which I did wonder, because they did burn down part of the house.
Yeah.
And then the husband was gone, and it was the 1920s.
Right.
So, what do you do then?
Right.
So the house itself is actually said to be full of negative energy, and it is on private property, so we don't recommend that anyone go there. But there are accounts from people that did go there, and this is such a weird thing to do. Apparently, it used to be like a local challenge to throw rocks at the house. Yeah. But the house throws the rocks back, apparently.
Oh, valid.
So people say, like, it'll hit the house and then, like, slingshot
like
back.
Ricochet back? That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I know. The house is like, no.
I've had enough.
Yeah.
Someone tried to burn me years ago. Let's not pelt me with rocks now.
Yeah. And I thought, okay, maybe this is Nelson's ghost.
Yeah.
But many people say it's actually the house itself.
Well, that would be kind of an interesting concept. I don't know that we've ever had, like, a haunted where the building is, like, sentient, you know? But I don't know. That's hard for me to get behind. But at the same time, I'm like, if it was going to happen anywhere, maybe here.
Yeah, it's a lot of these things are hard for me to get behind, not gonna lie.
Yeah. To me, it's much more believable that maybe if it isn't Nelson, it's just the negative energy around the house. Like, I would believe more that just the general negative energy is somehow tossing the rocks back over the house waking up and tossing the rocks back.
Yeah, I do agree with that. People argue that the house is haunted and it's not just a ghost, because another thing that happens is plumes of smoke will be seen coming from the house, almost as if it's on fire again.
Oh.
I still don't think that convinces me.
No, because it's private property. I don't know how close someone has been able to get to the smoke. But what I was thinking would be a haunting here is the teenagers, because they were probably traumatized. Again, they're kids. I'm not justifying or trying to explain away a murder. That's obviously still a horrible thing for them to have done, but they're also teenagers who were likely manipulated into this. And so I would not be surprised if their trauma is in the house too, and I'm wondering if, like, that smoke is them replaying the events.
That could be the case. Because I was thinking maybe it's Nelson replaying the events, or just, like, the residual energy, because everybody knows it as, like, the Hex Hollow house.
Yeah.
But it could be that the teenagers are also there, for sure. Strangely, people think this is just a paranormal hotspot in general, which is super interesting to me, because as if we don't have enough, we have witches, a sentient haunted house, and ghosts. People say you can regularly see UFOs and aliens around this house.
UFOs and aliens. That is a jump.
And, I've been thinking about this episode a lot and trying to somehow connect that. I can't.
Charles didn't burn. Charles? Who's Charles?
John.
Oh, Nelson. No, I don't know who Charles is. That was my bad. Nelson didn't burn because he's an alien.
There it is.
That's the theory.
And it wasn't a curse, but alien technology.
Correct.
That's the answer.
No, I agree with you. That's a really far jump. I don't know how the connection could be made. I know, so we've been to a couple places, or maybe just the one, where the person told us that not only are the spirits who kind of existed at this house before they were alive there, but also spirits that might be connected to the people in the house. So, like, if we went, we might find some connections to spirits that we have experienced.
Encountered. Yeah.
Like family members, ancestors, things like that. So I'm wondering if that's the case here. Like, if something triggered more of a paranormal happening here than other places where other spirits can come through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know really how I could still connect that back to aliens or UFOs, but I could maybe get behind it being an expansive paranormal location.
I agree with that. I think maybe the claims of the UFOs are coming because it's in like a field and people are just seeing lights in general.
Yeah.
Like it could be planes.
True, yeah.
And I've never seen them and I couldn't find any images, so I mean I can't really speak to it, but I just think that's a big stretch. The witchcraft and the ghosts together, okay, the story makes sense.
Yes.
Aliens, I'm not so sure.
No, yeah. I agree. I feel like I would have to hear more about what happened and how we're connecting aliens to that location, for sure.
Right. And this is actually such a popular story that there's a documentary about it that came out in 2015, and I had no clue.
Yeah, me either.
It is called Hex Hollow, Witchcraft and Murder in Pennsylvania. And apparently you can watch it on Amazon. I did not watch it.
I have not watched it.
But it's a really big story, so no wonder so many listeners were like, why didn't you do Hex Hollow yet?
Yeah. There's just so many corners of Pennsylvania. I can't get over how many episodes we really have. It's crazy.
Yeah. It is. And we always ask, would you visit this place of paranormal phenomena?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, yes. Here's the thing. I have stipulations for this one. I wouldn't sleep there for sure. And investigating at night, it would be early night, maybe. I don't think I could last until like witching hour, for instance. I think I would get too freaked out, especially because as much as we're sitting here in this room and I'm saying, I don't know that a house could actually be sentient, something could happen there and I'd be like, you know what? Just kidding. It's sentient. So I think that would freak me out a little bit. And of course, because there is, like, this is tied to true crime. So of course there's going to be negative energy there. And the other thing about that is, like, when we're there, we have to gauge whether or not we're welcome. Because if we're not, then we have to leave.
Yeah, that's my thought. Not only is it on private property, but Nelson seems like a pretty angry spirit. So I'm not sure if we would be welcome. If we were, I think it would be interesting to get more information about the murder and what actually happened. But it seems like even the house would keep us out. So I don't know. Because even if it's not like a sentient house, it reminds me of the movie Monster House.
I have not seen that movie. I know. One time Zach told me we should watch it, though. Like, he was making a joke because, like, I don't like horror movies, and he was like, we should watch Monster House. That's like a good one to get you into the horror thing. And then I realized it was like a kid's movie.
It is like, a kid's movie. But because of that, I mean, I don't know. I think there's a lot of cool information that you could get from this, but I definitely wouldn't sleep there. And I think I would be a little freaked out just because there's so many components to this one. Because even like the curses and stuff and like hexes, I don't know.
I know, I don't want to upset anything to the point where it retaliates against us, which we say all the time is understandable in these kinds of circumstances.
Yeah, so it's a maybe from me. I would go and try it, but I would be very much so aware of how I felt and the vibes of the situation and very ready to leave.
Yeah.
So that is the story of Hex Hollow. Thank you so much to the listeners that requested we cover it because it's a really interesting story. And if you have somewhere that you want us to cover, you can reach out to us on socials, TikTok, Instagram. You can find us on YouTube, or you can just email us at paranormalinpennsylvania@gmail.com. And we do take those into consideration, and we love to hear from you guys, especially if you have stories about the place. So tune in next Thursday to see what history and hauntings we discuss next, and stay spooky, my friends.